Hello, welcome back to the Essentials with Charlotte and Kayla G, where we talk about what to do when life happens to you. And we are still kind of caught the fuck up, y'all. We're still kind of caught on this mansplaining version of high maintenance women and high value men. And, so last week we didn't really feel like we got to get to the nitty gritty, the meat of the situation. And so we have done a little bit more research and more. I've talked to some people about this subject. Charlotte's done some more research and found some really great articles to share. And so, let's dive right on in. Charlotte, tell us. Well, first of all, hello. I love
Oh,
you.
Kayla.
So tell us, what have you found about high maintenance women this week?
So I just Googled the origin of high maintenance. I was curious. And it's honestly came from entertainment, media, movies. It's from When Harry Met Sally. That's when it got popularized for the very first time. There was an article in The Atlantic that explained its popularity boost after that film. There's a great scene. For anyone who hasn't seen the film, spoiler alert, there's this great scene with Billy Crystal and Meg Ryan, and they're in their respective apartments in bed, and they're falling asleep. They're both watching Casablanca. Billy Crystal changes channel. He's watching a sports show. I think sports. He's watching baseball, I believe. And so he goes, "Channel, please," and it's great. His lines are delivered beautifully, and I do think that in the article, I think says this as well. The way Billy Crystal delivers the lines is also what caused this to become such a huge, big thing. So Meg Ryan is talking to him, and they're talking about relationships and everything, and he's talking about Casablanca, and he says, "Go see, that's high maintenance." Low maintenance. I'm sorry, Ingrid Bergman is low maintenance. And so Meg Ryan, of course, is like low maintenance. And so he explains that there are two types of women, low maintenance and high maintenance. She immediately, of course, asks, "Which am I?" And he goes, "Oh, you're the worst kind. You think you're low maintenance, but you're actually high maintenance." And so it's great. It's beautifully done. And the movie is very, very good. Meg Ryan, of course, protests, and Billy Crystal immediately starts into her food orders. "I want the salad dressing, but I want it on the side. But I can't remember the entire scene, even though I've seen this movie dozens of times. She basically, her apple pie order is one of the most famous ones. She wants whipped cream, but she wants it on the side. But if it's out of the can, then she doesn't want it, and she doesn't want the pie heated. But if it is real whipped cream, then she wants it on the side, or rather, I think on top of the pie, and she wants the pie heated." And so it's a whole thing. He's like, "On the side's a big thing for you," and she's like, "I just know what I want." And so it's right, and it's rather interesting at how it's done. And I was looking up more different stuff with how this works, and Urban Dictionary calls high maintenance requiring a lot of work or attention to maintain, requiring a lot of money or attention to appearance, requiring a high emotional investment or an excessive amount of money. And at the very bottom, I like how it says, "Note, high maintenance is primarily used to refer to attractive straight women or a person or people that's stuck on self." So that's Urban Dictionary.
Mm.
And when I did a little more diving in, high maintenance is generally referred to with women high value for men. They have started, just from a quick search, high value women, but it does seem to be much more related to women, high maintenance and high value for men. So that's what I found so
Mm.
far. What are your thoughts on all that?
Okay, so I mean that makes a lot of sense. One, it makes sense that we as a society are so influenceable that it would take a movie to just and a woman having a very specific order about pie to consider us all high maintenance, right? Or to consider the certain set of women high maintenance, right? That's how influenceable we are for sure. But also, yes, that's a lot, right? I want it on the sign. If it's in the can, I don't want it, whatever. Like all of these things whether to heat it up or not heat it up. But really and truly, if you think about it, that's two options. If it's this way, I want it this way. Like if you do it in the kitchen this way, I want it this way. But if you do it in the kitchen that way, I want it that way. That's just two ways of looking at it. It's not like she did like five different options.
she
And
she
then
did
also,
actually she did actually do five different options in the scene.
oh,
So she did, and that's what's so funny about it. But I want to add a caveat to continue with Kayla's point, because I love that your point's very valid. What was missing from that scene is the waitress should have interrupted, which I would have done very easily and been like, listen, let me go check. I will make sure it's real whipped cream and check on the apple pie. I'll see if we have ice cream, see if we've got it in the can. Because you can already tell where she's going with this. But the poor waitress just looks at her and is like, puts her pen in her hair and walks away, which of course is honestly it's an honest response, because she's a high maintenance customer who's basically just like, listen, I wanted all these. If you have it this way, I want it this way. If you have it this way, it's like no joke, like 5 or 10 different ways that she introduces the way she wants her pie. It's really funny.
it's funny that it's five because I was like, no, she's not doing five.
I don't know if it's I don't know if it's like I don't know what the exact number is, but like I said, Kayla hasn't seen the movie, and I suggested that she should watch it. It's a classic. It's very good, and I would say what makes it classic is Nora Ephron's writing. She's absolutely amazing. She did Sleepless in Seattle, other stuff like that. Like that's Nora Ephron. She is an amazing writer. But yes, please, Kayla. Sorry.
So it goes back to being just very, very, very clear about what you want. That's it. And she got at the end of this scene, he's saying to her, whatever he says, like Charlotte said, I haven't watched it. But so, everybody's like, oh, wow, she's very specific, and that's a lot to take in. But think about how often we go through life just kind of like flying by the seat of our pants, taking whatever life throws at us and not being prepared for the options that we get versus being very clear and very defined, like, okay, if it's this way, I'm going to do this. If it's that way, I'm going to do that. And knowing exactly what you want, how you want it, and how to handle it if you get it any other way differently than what you do want, right? To make it what you want. And so in that sense, like, yeah, sure, it gets complicated sometimes. Sure, it's intricate, right? But it's clear. It's clear, it's straight, it's to the point, and it brings about I've actually got a discussion to go with this girl. Okay, I was just talking about this today with my dear friend Thomas.
Tell me.
So really what this goes into is a conversation about judgment versus discernment. Okay, so in this example, right, she's very clear about what she wants and the way she wants it, and can discern. She can discern what serves her and what doesn't serve her, right? How she wants to be served. Everyone then gets to formulate their own opinion about it, whether that's aggravating or too much or high maintenance, or what have you. And let's talk about judgments versus opinions for a second. I'm sorry, judgment versus discernment.
Yeah.
So discernment is when you are clear about whether this particular thing, situation, person, place, whatever, is good for you or bad for you. And that's it. It goes no further, right? Whereas a judgment is the second layer of discernment, which is you having your opinions about what that discernment is. A lot of people don't allow themselves to just stand fully in their power and fully just own what serves you and what doesn't, what's good for you and what's not good for you. And so they feel like they have to justify it with all these judgments and opinions. And so it's more along the lines of, well, she's high maintenance because, she wants specific types of whipped cream, whether her pie is going to be heated or not. Specific types of clothes. She wants her hair to be a specific way. She has to go out doing da da da. And really, she's doing it to make herself feel good. She's very clear about what makes her feel good, what serves her. And that's not wrong. There's nothing wrong with being utterly clear about what you want. So we insert our opinions, and this is where being high maintenance comes from. The negative connotation of being high maintenance. It's people's judgment over other people being clear about what they want.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And honestly, medium.com has an article about 3 powerful traits of a high value woman. And their 3 powerful traits are: she has firm standards in place. She has healthy priorities that does not change once in a relationship. And she remains aligned with her heart. And a sub part of that is she does not shy away from expressing her feelings. So I feel like that was the perfect follow-up to your discussion there, which I completely agree with. I totally agree with. Knowing what you want is a very important thing. It keeps you happy. It doesn't waste other people's time. It doesn't waste your time. And so there is nothing wrong with knowing what you want. Nothing at all. And again, to go back to the movie, Meg Ryan doesn't change for him. That's one thing that I love about that film. They love each other by the end of the film, and he loves her for exactly who she is. There is this great end, if I may spoil it for you, there is this great scene at the very end of the movie where he says to her, I love the fact that you get cold when it is 60 degrees outside. I think it's like 60 or 70 degrees. She gets cold. He loves the fact that she wants everything on the side. So he loves all of these things about her. He's a rather unhappy person because he pushes everybody away. And the movie in and of itself focuses on whether or not men will, he says that any man in a relationship with a woman is going to want to sleep with her, as in men and women can't be friends. That's the whole premise of the movie, essentially, is he establishes that at the very beginning. It's a very, like I said, it's a very well written film. She definitely understood relationships. So yeah, to follow up with that, I completely agree. And I do think that there is a big difference between discernment and judgment. When you first meet somebody, you are discerning who they are. You're taking in their body, you're taking in their clothes, you're taking in their body language, you're taking in how they talk to you. That is discernment. You are discerning whether or not you want to talk to them, whether or not you want to spend time with them, and whether or not they interest you. Judging is what follows, and whether or not you stay, or whether or not you like them by the end.
And I wouldn't even say like whether or not you stay, but it's whether or not you make them wrong for being who they are.
Interesting, because I would think that it would be, I would think that that in and of itself wouldn't be as healthy as possibly just saying, that's great that you are this person, that's not for me.
Well, the thing is, judgment isn't that healthy. Like judgment and discernment are two opposite ends of the same spectrum. So discernment being, which I have also, little caveat, I have just discerned I am a high value woman based on that definition. Just throwing that out there, dear future husband. I got value, babe. But so opposite ends of the spectrum. So discernment, where you're assessing the facts. You are assessing their clothing, their attitude, their how they vibe with you. But with discernment, if they don't vibe with you, you don't make them inherently wrong. It's like, wow, you're great. You're just not great for me, right? Whereas with judgment, which is the unhealthy opposite of the spectrum, it's more like, oh wow, like you are a total turn off. You are a disgusting human being. Just because I don't know, you eat spaghetti with a spoon instead of a fork or something like that. Something stupid and minuscule like that. You judge a person based off an action or phrase or words or attitudes or whatever, and you make them wrong. And that's where your opinions come into it. Like, and it's not to say don't have opinions, but don't project your opinions onto other people and make your opinions irrelevant to other people's experiences, as well as making other people's opinions irrelevant to your experience.
I agree.
and
Totally. It was a
and
couple years ago now that I had a friend who was trying out just dating different guys. And she told me that she went out on this date. 5 minutes in, she looked at him and she said, "Listen, it's been great meeting you. This isn't going to work." And that's it. That's all she said. And it was shocking to me. God, this was like 6 years ago now. It was shocking to me that you could do that. Honestly, it had never
yeah,
occurred to me that you could do that. It was, I don't know why. It just, I figured, no, you're polite, you stay through the date, and then if you don't like the guy, you just don't go out on a date again, or you don't call him again, or you say thanks, but no thanks. No, she didn't even let the date finish. 5, 10 minutes in, she went, "Listen, I'm sorry, this isn't going to work." And she just left. And it, like I said, it was mind boggling. I admired her confidence and I admired her taking power back in that moment to say, "You know what, it's cool. I'm good."
and I can imagine how many guys would actually value that. Because think about how much money, especially if we're including chivalry, right? Or the normals, the norms of dating today, the norms of societal dating, right? Um, if women were in it 5 minutes in to be like, yeah, I don't think this is gonna work. I don't think we find like, wow, you're great. Um, but I'm looking for something different. So like, have a great night, and then they don't have to, spend all this money on dinners and drinks and all of that. They just kind of get to meet people, and they don't have to. Then if we as women were to do that, men wouldn't have to like manipulate situations in order to um get what they need as well.
Yeah.
Because a lot of men do feel like the only value that women place on them, and I've seen this several times this week actually,
Hmm.
a lot of men feel like they don't have, like, women don't value them just for their existence. They don't value them just for uh their love or who they are as human beings. They value them for what they bring to the table. Now, women could say the same thing about men, because I mean, there's literally YouTube videos out there that are asking women, "What do you bring to the table?"
Right.
And there's so many women who just flock to men in general. Men have to be surprised by you, or there's got to be something different about you, or they've got to notice something, or they got to really like something about you in order for you to stick out. Because there's just droves of women on like almost every man. And so when men don't feel like they can do that, they can just be and they can just show up, then they have to manipulate situations in order for them to be able to just do that, but not make it seem like that's what they're doing. And so if we women were more open and honest and vulnerable, now, societally it's been hard for us to do that, right? But generational trauma, oppression of women, things like that. But we're no longer in that age. Men may still try it, but we can like triumph. We can stand strong within ourselves. And if we were to do that, we would be saving men a whole lot of trouble.
I agree.
And men, if you were to do it, you'd save yourself a whole lot of trouble. But I also understand it's kind of hard to do that with women, and we're kind of complicated sometimes.
I would also add that I think that we will know that that is truly successful when a woman is able to go on a date and be able to say that with no fear. To add, not to add that dark part to it, but that I would say is one of the biggest things is that respect a woman who's able to say that. Don't intimidate. Don't make her afraid because you're a guy and you can, assert power over her. No. If she's not interested, accept it. The date's done and go home.
But see, that's a woman's job not to fear. That you It's a woman's job to have safety within herself,
True.
because at the end of the day, what besides, and I hate to say it like this, besides, unless you're walking through a dark alley and you get attacked or something, what can that man do besides cuss you the fuck out? I can cuss you the fuck out. And so, but what is that? It's words. And so it's us giving our power away to words of an insecure ass man, right? So what is there truly to fear? Words? Loud words? Loud words directed at you? So really, it's just us getting over the fear within ourselves of being completely open and honest and vulnerable in that situation, and having those hard conversations,
True.
no matter the behaviors of others.
Because a woman could carry, mace or whatever with her if the guy tries to follow her home or something like that.
Yeah.
And honestly, I know that this came to me a while ago. It would be a lot more respected. A lot more respected when I was single. I had no issue with this. It didn't happen, but I definitely would not have an issue with this. If you want to take me out on a date and we have dinner and you literally just want to have sex, great. Do not tell me I am the next best thing since sliced bread. Wow, all of my references are just so effing old. That's okay. Don't tell me you love me. If you just want to fuck, let's fuck. That's it. It doesn't have to be
That's it.
this whole thing of like, oh, I want to dedicate my life to you. Bullshit. You've known me 5 minutes.
Right. Like that's that manipulation that, like, men, we don't require. And like, yeah,
Creepy.
maybe
It's creepy. Don't tell me
maybe
you love me.
right. Almost all my relationships, I've been told that I was loved before we ever actually became a couple. Like one
I mean, you are
relationship,
loved, but I mean, a guy should get to know you more before he knows that.
I mean, I'm real lovable. Let's not get it twisted. I'm real lovable, sure. Like, dear future husband, you're going to be so happy. But, but, you know, also it is weird because, like, one relationship, the guy was like, so when do I get to tell you I love you?
When you decide to say it, what kind of question is
I'm
that?
sorry, what? Like,
What do you
you
mean? When do you
basically
get to tell
just
me you
said
love me?
it.
The minute the words leave your mouth, honey.
Right. I mean, like, when you feel it.
Oh my God, Kayla, have you ever seen the movie He's Just Not That Into You?
Yeah.
That reminds me of the scene. The two women, they're like my favorite ones. They're sitting on the bench and they're talking about, it reminds me of John on the bench. Sorry, this is John Mulaney reference. They're sitting on the bench and it's the scene where they're talking about their boyfriend who's broken up with them. And he says to them, he's like, I'm so jealous of the man that gets to marry you. I thought that was going to be you. Like, what?
Right. What?
Good. It's so well delivered and it's so well done because it's the truth. What kind of shit is that to say? I'm so jealous of the man that gets to marry you. Well, I planned on that being you, asshole.
Right. Like, what? Like, that's so confusing. It's so confusing. Like, what are we supposed to do with that?
When do I tell
Like,
you I love you? How about let's not do reverse psychology here and you grow some balls, or maybe, let's not even make this sexist. Why don't you just have some confidence and say it instead of
yeah,
asking me to like back me into a trap or whatever? That's a trap. When do I get to say
that's
it?
a trap. And me being a young impressionable woman just looking for love in all the wrong
I
places,
know.
right? Like
You
I
have no
fell
knowledge of the
into
world,
it.
Kayla. You're so innocent.
Yeah. And I was like, I mean, you just said it. I mean, I love you too.
Yeah, what did you say
This
to that?
person, huh?
What did you say to that?
That's exactly what I said. I was like, well, I mean, you just said it. So, I mean, I guess you can keep saying it. And it's like, I
You're
mean, it
see,
takes the
this is where Kayla is so
romanticism
much
out of
smoother than
it.
I am. You are so much smoother than I am. Because I would have looked at him like he was an idiot. I would have been like, when you want to say it, I mean, I'm not stopping you. And this,
And the thing is, girl,
that's where I get in trouble.
and the thing is it was over text message. Like, actually, several of them the first time were over text message. Now that I think about it, like how asinine, how
Okay,
gross.
let's just roll this back here. We all did shit in our teens. We all accepted shit in our teens. I have had some stupid stuff said to me, real stupid. Never accept a text about I love you, anything serious, a breakup text, anything. I mean, you want to accept the breakup text? That's to me personally, I would and move on, blocking your number, never going to talk to you again, because that's a shitty thing to do. When it comes to this might just be me, but I hate it when somebody tries to have a serious conversation with me through text or emails. No,
Yeah.
have enough respect to have it to my face. You want to tell me you love me, you want to say something especially like that, of enough respect. To me, that's a respect issue. Don't tell me through text message.
Yeah.
I understand that everybody's situation is different. Andrew and I were actually talking about this earlier, about, when a guy approaches you at a bar. Pay attention to behavior. Make sure that you pay attention, because I totally understand having a really shitty night and being upset, and a guy approaches you and you're just like, dude, go away. Seriously.
Right.
But be kind, because you're gonna get guys that, because Andrew even asked that. He goes, well, what about the guy that's like really shy? And I was like, well, obviously I'm not gonna do that to him. If a guy approaches you and he looks like he's nervous as shit, or and don't get me wrong, you sometimes gotta pay attention, because guys can pull that off. Anybody can have confidence. But if you really truly pay attention, you can see that somebody's worked up the nerve to come over and talk to you. That's where it comes into connecting with people and treating everybody just a little bit differently. But you can also tell when the frat guy walks up and he's just really looking to get into your pants. And if you're not in the mood that night, tell him you're not in the mood that night. If he doesn't go away, well, assess the situation and either throw a drink in his face or tell him to fuck off or leave. I don't know.
Yeah. Because I mean, you're allowed to have your bad days too, but also it's like, even on those bad days, and I guess it could depend on the intention of the guy, which you'll never know. Like, the
Yeah,
intention could be, well, you're weak and vulnerable at this point, so it's now my time to move in, right? That's
right.
the manipulative, neglectful, abusive type man. But
Have you seen Crazy Stupid
also,
Love? Or no, Crazy Stupid Love?
I don't think so.
Oh my God, you've got to see that. So it reminded me as well of, there's perfect scene with Emma Stone, and she is just fucking hilarious. She tells Ryan Gosling's character, because that's the two of them, they're in a bar and he comes up and he's doing the little suave Playboy thing, and she looks at him and she's essentially like, just no, just keep moving.
No,
It's so
not
fun,
it.
especially, and this is a good movie to watch. This ties right into what we're talking about, especially when, not no joke, I want to say like halfway through the movie, many scenes later, she walks into the bar, she's pissed, she's done with life, and she tells him, let's go. And she knows the whole point is that, you looking for somebody to have sex with tonight? Great, we're gonna go have sex because I'm mad. Because her boyfriend is a douche, and so she's looking for a guy that she knows can just be somebody she can have sex with and say goodbye to. Take that power, take that confidence.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be this whole thing of just
Yeah.
passive aggressiveness. State what you want and be done with it.
And ladies, let me just give you this gift. Okay. There's this beautiful gift that I have to give you when you're not interested in a man. And so let's say a man approaches you and you're just clear as day, this is not the one, right? You look at him real sweetly and be like, I'm just not interested. I'm just not interested.
That's all it takes. That's all you have to say.
And that's it. That is it. And I've never when doing that and being kind, I've never received any backlash. I've never been called a bitch. I've never been cussed out. I've never been followed home. None of that. When you just simply say, because other women are out there being horrible people, right? They're being like, oh my God, why would you even think that you could approach me and all that stupid nonsense, right? But if you just look at him, look him in the eye if you have to, and just be very sweet and simple and be like, I'm not interested. And I've never had to say it more than 3 times. Because, there are some guys who are persuasive, who want to be persuasive and don't want to be rejected and want to like give you their sales pitch of themselves. And it's like, oh, honey, I'm still not interested. But have a great day. That money that you're going to save from not having to buy me a drink, I bet you she'd be interested. Then become their wingman, like make it fun, make it friendly, make it frisky, enjoy it. Enjoy it. So, gosh, I think that's probably about our time for today. This has been a wonderful conversation, and I feel like a really good wrap up to what it is to be high maintenance women versus high value women. It's taken us basically this is the third episode or 2.5 episodes to realize we're high value women, Charlotte. We're not high maintenance. We're not out here obsessed with anything. We just know what we want and we're clear about it. And we don't change that for relationships. We don't change that for family. We don't change that for friends. We don't change anything until our mind decides we would like to change and there's very good reason for it. And so I feel much more complete about this. I feel really good about this. And thank you, subscribers, fans, followers, all the people in between, YouTubers, Spotifyers, and all the channels to come one day eventually. We love you. Thank you for being here. Please like, share, and subscribe. Please tell us, are you high maintenance or are you high value? Do you know any high value men? Because we may have to talk about that one day again, because it still gets on my damn nerve.
I was going to say, you're not going to let that one go.
It gets to me, girl. It makes me upset. But thank you. We love you. Love, peace, and chicken grease.
Bye.
Bye.